So I started getting into drugs. Um, I can't say the year. I'll have to go look at Instagram, look through the pictures to see. And I'll be like, yeah, I was high as hell that day. That way I know the time frame. But so this one here is about me and drugs. Um, yeah, after we was selling all them kilos and shit, we was dope boys, magic dope boy fresh. We had the purest of the purest, you know what I'm saying, getting it right off the crack rock. Um, Sunny home. I'm gonna take you to. I never was too big on drugs. I always liked smoking weed, but I might sniff powder from time to time. Might take a Xanny. Shit, I might spend a run of the Pookie Princess. Now that my friend had put a nigga on to it. So I'm gonna tell y'all later about how I was spending run of the Pookie Princess. But that come in when I start telling you about the kids. So I already told y'all about Damien. We end up meeting Backpage. End up, you fuck me twice, you mine for life, because I'm tired of this. I need something consistent. And then I need to introduce you guys to my little baby. But how awesome she was to me, the life changer that she was for me. By the time I got with Damon, the Reg was finna turn 1. Auntie Deborah had her most of the time, because most of that other time I was, growing up, trying to grow up, having fun, whatever. Um, Really not fun. It seemed like my every day of my life was a struggle. I swear to you. Um, so then when I met Damon, it kind of hit with a little bit of consistency, but I would still tweak every now and then. You know what I'm saying? I got small little. It's always better when you sniff it. It might burn your whole brain, but for some reason it powder made me upset. Meth made me get it. You know what I'm saying? Type shit. And so and all you needed was a little smaller bit versus keep on sniffing on the white man's drug, the rich man's drug. You gotta have money to be cocaine fresh. Um, and plus, Nene Plug ended up stop fucking with us anyway. So, it was like nigga couldn't get that. So, but I ended up meeting my baby Nada. Reg was finna turn 1. If she was born in 2012, it must have been 2013, which it was. We probably stayed in that house for about a year with Damien. I ended up going to my granny um, trying to get my baby back. So I ended up having to call, um, the police, whatever, so I can end up getting her back. My granny still pretended to bring a reg to me when I was at Damien's. I guess she didn't trust Damien's brother or whatnot. Um, He was the sweetest guy ever. He did kind of rub you the different type of way. Kind of made you think like, well, dang, is it like that, or do he really like, he's ice cream man. So he kind of, it probably did put high alerts in her, but um, yeah, it was creepy. but hey, I could get lie detector tested. My baby was completely safe with me. Never took my eyes off of her. She was stuck to me like glue. Um, My thing was to never put my baby through what I went through. And why would I did that if I sent her to Auntie Deborah's house? But she was so young then. I will probably be posting up videos when I get my subscribers up and things like that. Stuff of the past, the happy shit. The daughter that I do remember. Right now, my daughter was sick in 2020. Auntie Janet came to pick up my daughter. So wait, I ended up going with Damien. We probably stayed in the house for about a year, but then he had to leave. By that time, he got the car, and I ended up getting the place with Janie that was in Victorville. Not with Janie, but from Janie in Victorville. So we ended up moving out there. Okay, yeah, I brought your Reg, whatever. We had a happy family. Like I said, my neighbors was tweakers. Um, Spinderella the Pookie Princess. You heard all in the shed, all in the shed. I remember one day I ended up getting so high in the kitchen, I'm cooking, and I passed out. I don't know. I passed out standing up straight up back on concrete floor. I passed out and the Reg was like, Mom. That there changed my life forever. I was like, oh hell no, never again. One thing about me is it only take one time. So even with the hoeing, and we was at Melina house, and I remember coming in, putting my heels down on the floor, and I was like, I was tired. Shit, I was walking. Well, I was walking. You heard what I'm saying? I wasn't walking, having one trick bring me to the next. I was walking, trying to, walking. And you never supposed to bring people back to your house. And so I remember taking my heels off out the door and my baby going to put them on. And that was a life changer for me. Like, nope. Thank God I ended up meeting Damien right, closer to that time. Closer to that time because before it was Lulu stayed in the 20s and Lena stayed in the 40s. So it was like back and forth. Then was my cousin slash sister, whatever the case may be. So it was kind of help, back and forth. I had two different places. But either way it go, I was close to walking every single way. Every single way. I might meet a good dude in between, but at this point, I'm not knowing how to treat a dude that actually want to treat me nicely. But back to my most wonderful baby. After I had my daughter, I went through a lot of stuff. I can't place the timeline. I do remember us being homeless and me putting her inside of my shirt, and because we slept under the Harbor Freeway station, cold as a motherfucker. But when I say she was the best survivor child ever, like, not even saying that she survived off survival snacks, chips and shit like that, but she was the most awesome child ever. She was content. She was for me. She was for my change. God gave her to me to change. That's exactly before I started getting high. I ended up having my baby. That was with Ariane. And that was the guy that lived around the corner from Shamika House. I ended up meeting him while I was there. But time had been didn't pass by. Now I'm with Damon. I meet him on Backpage, whatever the case may be. He wanted the special. And that turned into 9 years. You heard what I'm saying? After he fucked me twice, he literally was mine for life. No whole shit, no none of that on the side. He wasn't having none of that. Niggas stole phones all over, He asked me, where you at? He peeking up on you. Where you at? I don't know. I'm out and about. Well, why I see you walking in the house with some niggas? That nigga, he actually attended to me. He looked at me like I was the most beautiful thing in the world. Like, not even judging me from wherever it was. I figured that. I thought that nigga was for me. He was stalking a nigga. I ain't never had a nigga do no shit like that, before. Cause, like I said, the way I grew up, niggas never gave me no type of attention type stuff. It was like a nigga always had to. Everybody else that was having their titties out and doing the most, they would always get more of the shit than that. I was more of the laid back, gay, kind of not gay, would do what I need to do, type shit, motherfucker. So anywho, so yeah, we end up moving from Damon's house where he lived on Hill Street. Mind you, I done already lost all my bitches, all my hoes. You know what I'm saying? I done dropped them hoes down. My bitches done left me because I didn't want to be cuddle buddy and shit. I don't want to be a player no more. And anyway, but I could tell you, like, I thought I was in love. That was a 9-year relationship and lasted from, I want to say, 2013 to 2020, I want to say. And, well, that's been 7 years. But other than that, we was together for 9 years. Before I asked God and told God, look, I can't do it no more. And because we've been together for so long, through the eye of God, I gotta banish this nigga because I don't want him in my presence. However the case may be, we just end up being so different. Before we was a power couple. Then he started being sketchy. I was getting high and he was getting high too. So it was kind of different. Okay, but let me tell you. Don't get me wrong, my baby never knew about it. You heard what I'm saying? My baby never would have ever seen or never knew nothing of it. I was that type of motherfucker. Just make sure I get shit done. I started getting high after we ended up moving to Victorville. I had took this job at CVS. It seemed like I've always been tired. So just a small little sniff took me a long way. I'd take a small sniff and go the whole day. Who would have knew that I was moving to Mephiland in Victorville? You know what I'm saying? Everybody's a living zombie out that motherfucker. But thank God we had a shed. Had my own room. Reg had her own room. It's not the best thing to talk about, so it is kind of hard, when you gotta put your truth out there and you really gotta be honest about it, so that way you can truly be set free. there's no blasphemies in me. You ain't got to catch me lying. Um, you know what I mean? As my Father is my witness. And praises be to the one true supreme creator of all creation and everything in its likeness. Father, protect me in my mind and allow me to get my truth out and speak it in the upright way. Seems like when I'm laid back, I think so much better. You know what I'm saying? So as I'm laid back, my brain is really chilling. You know what I mean? And so yeah, we end up moving to Victorville. I end up start getting high out there. But I guess time passed by. We ended up racking up like a $500 water bill. But shit, the water bill was $500, rent was $500. I was working at CVS, plus still trying to get the county. It was just a lot of shit going on. Whatever the case may be, Jenny and them ended up getting mad and evicting us. First eviction ever came from a family member. They ended up getting mad and evicting us. She had her husband and she had her little family going on. All in the process, though. Don't get me wrong now that I'm thinking about it. We had history, you know what I'm saying? I'm in there stealing shoes for Janie baby, chains and shit, you know, all kind of things like that. Like, I want to put all that stuff up in there because people don't, the person that, you know, right now, I could be called and discriminated on a thief, a motherfucking child molester, or a motherfucking a man stealer, you know, things like that. All this type of shit that a person will put up on you. But it's like, nigga, you treated, you basically carded me in this way. But like I said, I've never touched nobody's kids and I've never been interested in nobody's man. I want something that was mine, which was Damien. That nigga looked at me like I was just the most wonderful, most beautiful. I was always bigger trying to fit into something smaller. So I always had rolls popping out. But I'm telling you, the man loved every part of my curves. And every time I didn't know if I was keeping him in the closet because boy, I'm trying to tell you, all I'm saying is, it was just the most wonderful. The love making was there. You know what I'm saying? It was like he just couldn't keep his hands off of me. Not knowing that, you know, he could probably be just, you know, getting it while the getting is good. Ain't no telling. His longest relationship was 3 years. I never been in a relationship. I always been in and out, you know. It lasts a little while, but it seemed like after a nigga get their rocks off or after something is unattractive about it, it just, you know, takes a toll on a nigga completely. Don't get me wrong, because I loved Ali. I loved Ali and T-Shay. Them was my niggas. I had my little chocolate Ali. Well, I don't know what I did to him, boy. I'm trying to tell you. And I've never contracted no diseases, you know. I've never had, thank God, to this day, I still don't understand how I made it out, you know, because I've made stupid decisions as well. But my father has kept me covered the whole complete way. I've never contracted nothing. But with G, I did. G did call me when I was, but hell, I was just 19, 18, 19, and he was an older man, and he was fucking with, I think he had a wife or something, but he called me, he was like, the girl called him and told him he had trichomonas, so I need to go get checked, which I did, and I ended up getting a prescription for it and everything just in case, but I never got, you know, diagnosed with it. And then a little further down, in a way, I could say I went to the doctor one day and they said I had PIDS, pelvic inflammatory disease, something like I would never be able to have a kid. And that's how I go telling Damien. They said that I wouldn't be able to have no more kids or whatever. Boy, that motherfucker was consistent to show me that they was lying. And so that's what they said, I had PIDS. But I don't know if now it makes sense now, you know, because I've had 4 kids since then, so that it, you know, it could be just doctors trying to doctor me in some type of way. But I've never had no other type of diseases. Whatever the fuck you hear, you better lie detector test a motherfucker. You heard what I'm saying? But nah, I've never came close to. And hold on, I'm gonna tell you. Besides a couple years ago, and I knew who I was fucking with. I have never had a disease. Never had. I've had one scare, and that was just a couple years ago, where they said my blood count was low. I don't know if I was on the verge of getting herpes or some shit like that, and they said that it's non-reactive, or I don't know if I just took the information wrong. Not herpes. Fucking, I don't know what the fuck it was, but whatever it is, I ain't got shit now, believe me. I'll show you my test on my next thing. I didn't have shit then. I don't know if they was trying to scare me or what, but I was so fucking scared, nigga. I stayed immediately. I went abstinent. Yeah, I immediately cut off all the niggas that I was talking to, but I was only fucking on 2. But I was probably talking to 4, but hardly not even really like that. Uh, and one of them, it was supposed to be my nigga, and that's the nigga that I thought that damn near contracted it from, because I remember tasting like medicine on a date. And I don't know if they said that I had that it was herpes. I do believe that it was herpes, because I do remember getting the pamphlet and crying to my baby Nada. He's always been around, so we was together for 9 years. And they was like, you have something about the blood count. All I know is that I'm clean now. You heard what I'm saying? And I've never contracted it. It was just I don't know what the fuck the doctors was trying to do, because they never told me to eat right. They just told me that you have, it's non-reactive or some shit. Like, it's not active. Everybody have it in them, but it's not active. So why the fuck would you even bring that to the beginning of the subject? You know what I'm saying? Why would you even bring that out? You know what I'm saying? I've never ever had contracted the disease, and plus I know who I'm fucking. And so anyway, that scared me. You heard? That completely scared me. I've never caught nothing, as God is my witness. But it scared me, so I went abstinent for a long time, and that's just recent. So now back to me meeting Damon. I've always felt like maybe he was fucking off on me. So I've always went to the hospital like, I know I got something. Mind you, we together. Now that I'm happily together, but shit, I would be happily, because I was happy, having a couple motherfuckers that was paying me. But instead, I traded that for a fucking argument. He, yeah, that was so excited. I just always go to the doctor. I'm like, I know I got something. I know I do. I know he fucking off on me. It feel funny. And Mr. Lopez, he always like, why do you always want to have something? Why do you always gotta act like he has something? Just, he's not doing nothing. He's all right, whatever. And now that I'm older, and that they, it's people that's aligned with people, people that lies. Maybe I did. Maybe they was sneaking me to motherfucking shit. You know what I'm saying? Because it's a witchcraft ass world, and I don't know what the fuck was going on, but I know my baby daddy was a part of it. That's for sure. That's how them niggas get down in Belize. Anyhow, but you can check me on any of this information and ask me any type of questions. I will answer them righteously. So yeah, we ended up moving to Victorville. I was Cinderella the Pookie Princess for a little bit out there. I would do that when a reg went to Janie House, or when I needed to work, I might sniff a line or something. I was top tier. Everything that I've done, always been top tier. These spots never generated till a couple years ago, when I started my G16. So anyway, me and Damien, we got together. We was together for a long ass time. And I completely alienated myself away from the rest of the family. Now, I've always been harboring feelings about the family, but I've never ever exposed, never ever said anything. Because when I did told Auntie Curl that Dante was touching me, she told me what happens in the family stays in the family. Shit like that. You know what I mean? It was never like a protection type of thing. I don't know. And every time I try to tell something, even when I told my cousins, they end up snitching me out or something, to where it was like they would, I don't know. I never felt secure, but yeah. So I don't know how, when I start talking about them diseases and shit, that shit completely threw a nigga off, cause I want to tell the truth. You know what I'm saying? I want to get the truth out there. And don't get me wrong, I get my coochie check. You know what I'm saying? Just on the fact of the past, of where it was that I came from, and where it is that I'm going. I want to be like, nigga, you got your papers, nigga, I got my papers, nigga, let's fuck. I don't know. I don't know. Ain't no telling how I'm gonna play that out. But all I'm saying is, I had to get that out there while that slid across a nigga mind. But I've never contracted anything short of a yeast infection. Besides that time where I did get trichomonas, or he said I did. I ended up getting cured for it anyway. But I never had paperwork stating that I did have that. I've never had nothing short of nothing less than that. I mean, nothing more than a yeast infection. and that's just regular yeast. I reign supreme. You heard what I'm saying? I'm very resilient. All my praises go to my great beyond, my one true supreme creator of all creation, and the love of his likeness. And when they ask me who I do and who I do it for, I gotta get my truth out because they took my baby. And let me pop back into my daughter. She was the most awesome and most sweetest, most smartest. She stayed with Auntie Deborah. Auntie Deborah had a lot of one-on-one time with her, so she came out so super smart. She taught her how to say the Lord's Prayer. It had to be her, even though we always say it every night. You know, it was a prayer thing, but she taught her how to say that Lord's Prayer. That completely blew me. You know, she was one. Talking about the Lord is our shepherd, and we shall not want for nothing. But anyhow, Auntie Deborah had her top tier. Church, dragging her to church every day, and that's why I thought it was the best place for her to be. Not even on the side of the fact she's smoking Primos and shit, but she never showed us that. Only reason why I had an issue, because I was stealing her roaches in elementary or some shit, and I'm smoking the roaches, you know, getting them off the back of her shoe and shit, smoking them in the garage, and they Primo'd the motherfucking down. Trying to, is you going up or is you going down? Ain't nobody telling. But anyway, she was the most wonderfulest daughter ever. I had her, after I took her from Auntie Deborah, I think she was about 1. She probably went back and forth every now and then to go visit or something like that. But solely I had my kids 365. You know what I'm saying? All day long, every day. You know what I'm saying? They seen me. Until the time she had to go to school. Now, I'm not saying that I was the best parent because I could have did stuff better. The house was probably dirty. I had 4 kids. I ended up having 3 kids by Damien. 2 boys and 1 girl. And that came pretty quickly. Immediately after that, we was kind of like we a family. So after I had to move, after my sister evicted me from Victorville, we ended up moving to, I think we stayed with Javon. We stayed with Javon for about he gave us 3 months. He was supposed to give us 3 months, although he kicked us out two and a quarter, 275. You know what I'm saying? He kicked the nigga out before then, but thank God EBT came through and taxes came through, so we ended up moving to Hemet. Worst place a nigga could have ever moved to, the most craftiest, creepiest place, Egypt. You heard what I'm saying? Niggas ended up moving to Egypt. Niggas ended up moving to Hemet, and the rent was cheap. The rent was low. I do remember going to Hemet though, as a kid with Melina. She had a little boo and I had a little boo, and we ended up going out there and we had squatted at somebody's house for one night. Cold as shit. And it was Ashley there too. Everybody had their little boo. We was walking so I kind of already knew about what Hemet was kind of about since that one encounter when I was littler. So we ended up moving to Hemet. Everything fine. Reg is doing well. I'm trying to figure out, how did I do the school thing? I guess she wasn't in school yet when we was out there in Victorville. But I do remember her going to Janie's a lot. But we ended up going to Hemet. I ended up really having to grow up. You know what I'm saying? As we move into Hemet, I'm probably a baby in a rig, and I'm pregnant with Damien, little Dame. He was different. You know, he was excited about the fact that I was pregnant. He was a different type of baby, that's what I call him now. My baby, not a motherfucking thing, but a Burnstoner. He could have done better. And he was a sock man. He sold socks. And shit, he made a good living off of that. And whatever he sold socks, he'd go motherfucking hit at the casino. I don't know. He always did. He did his shit to each his own. But back to my daughter. She was the most wonderful, most greatest, most wonderfulest thing that could ever happen to me. And I started having kids, you know, and I started wanting to be the cleanup mother. Clean up mama, you know, staying up in the house, you know, making sure my kids taken care of, not doing the drugs, because that's another thing that made me love Damien. I remember I was at the laundromat and I had my Pookie in a sock. And he was like, I was sneaking. No matter what, nobody ever saw me get high. But I'm in a laundromat bathroom, whatever the case may be, we washing clothes. That nigga hop pop in there and he hit it with me and he break it. So what he do is he hit it with me, you know, to let me know that he didn't judge me. And then he broke it and said, don't nobody want no smoker ass baby mama. whatever the case may be. I don't know how the fuck that happened, but he ended up breaking the pipe. I ended up leaving it alone for a long ass time. But we could sniff powder though. Powder was fine, but he didn't want we smoking no dope. And so he ended up breaking the pipe, and I ended up leaving it alone. I don't know, I was comfortable. A person, your mind frame could change everything. You know what I mean? I was comfortable with that man. I thought that man really loved me. So don't get me wrong though, because he ended up breaking the pipe. This is before we moved to Victorville. So I must have been tweaking in and out, because when we went to Victorville and I was spending around the Pookie Princess, every time a Reg was gone, it was just a get high every day. Boy, we was getting high like a motherfucker. He was tweaked out. He would always burn it at a different type of way. So it was like, I guess he ended up coming accustomed to it. I guess he seen the nigga kept sneaking it every on and off, or he kept seeing the neighbors. I don't know what the fuck happened. It was just like a get high wave. But after we left that, we ended up leaving our shit alone. Well, I'm telling you, that nigga turned into a beast. I come home, this nigga doing 100 push-ups every day. Nigga body changing, big back. I don't know what the fuck was going on with that nigga. He was like, I'm preparing for war. Whole time he thinking that a nigga want me. He preparing for war against a nigga that want me. I'm working hard. Just let me, nigga. You done took the stash. I used to take stashes. I used to have, cause it never took me a lot to get high. So I always have a small little rock. I either tape it to the fan, underneath the table, around the mat, some shit where a Red couldn't catch it, a Red couldn't get it. In my room, wherever the fuck it is that I would stash my little shit, this nigga always found it like a thief. It was like he was in the drug. Like he just knew wherever the fuck it was. They had to have cameras or some shit. That was in Victorville though. So we ended up moving to Hemet. All that shit ended. Mind you, his brother, the dope boy fresh. He got any and everything you need, from black to the white to the clear, all in between, to any and everything. Mind you, it's the ice cream man I was telling you about. So we moved to Hemet. We out there in Hemet for a while. I guess his brother ended up leaving his situation, so we let his brother come stay with us for about 30 days until he got established out there. He moved into the duplex that was next door. So it was like they was right next door. Brothers, right next door. Kind of hard to keep my baby daddy from drinking and going outside and playing with his brother all the time. And everything was fine. The Reg was going to school. Everything was fine. Well, it really wasn't fine. I was probably stressed out, but ain't nothing more. And what else could a mother be? By this time, I had 2 kids. By this time, I had 2 kids, because after I had left, after Javon kicked us out 275, and I didn't even give us our whole 3 months. As he kicked the nigga out, because I remember standing in his garage, and I was always trying to keep my nigga to my nigga, you know what I'm saying? No need for you to be in the house. Javon, baby mama, liked to walk around in shorts. I don't know what it was. What's mine is mine. Used to cook outside in his garage, used to bathe out there. I do remember us having 2 kids, so it was a Reg and probably little Damien at the time. And if I'm right, if I had little Damien at the time, that would have been 2017. So a Reg possibly could have been, but was it 2017? Had to be 2017, because that's when I had that little nigga. Well, I had that in that 2017. I don't know. But anywho, I ended up having my first son. As I have a Reg too. Now don't get me wrong, a Reg is my everything. She was my light, my greatness. I instilled every good thing in her. I try to shelter her from everything that I've seen. I try to be more of a mother to her than anybody was ever to me. That was mine. That was my baby. And but she was a big sister. She was a wonderful big sister. She loved her baby brothers. I ain't gonna style. Eventually time passed by, years in the past, and not even, a couple years in the past, and I don't know when Damon, little Dame, popped in the picture. But she ended up, being a wonderful big sister. She watching them a nigga run out to the store. She watching them when a nigga run next door. Mind you, my neighbors next door, they getting high. We getting high like a motherfucker. She get high. My neighbor next door, but they sniff powder, so theirs was different. It was just like, nigga, come sniff a line and go back home, shit like that. But I'm directly literally I could go over the fence. I wake up in the morning, here's some orange juice in the line type shit, after the kids is gone, because she had a daughter as well. But it was all respect, we always kept our kids away from the shit. It might not seem like it in the way that I'm speaking it, but shit, check me if a nigga wrong. Um, so as I get older, as time passed by, whatever the case may be, we in Victorville, don't get me wrong. I mean, we in Hemet at this time. House ain't, I think, okay, I don't know how the fuck. Okay, so it went from just me and a Reg and Damon and Lil Damon to me, a Reg, Damon, Dacian, and Treasure. So I ended up having 3 kids. A Reg is the big sister, so she taking on a little bit of a lot. She changing her little sister diaper. She know what a little weenie look like, things like that. I never took it into consideration that she would ever do anything to the babies, cause nigga, we don't play that way. We don't do that. That's not welcome in our home. She was wonderful. I'm talking about she did shit without us even asking. I'll be wanting to late sleeping. Wake up, Mom already did it. Mom already did it. Mom already did it. She was just wonderful. And I guess I probably took advantage of that because I started going next door a little more, leaving her in the house with the kids. I could have been better. I ain't gonna style. Now that I look back, I sure could have been quite better. And if I would have ever had, if I could turn back the hands of time, I'll be back. So we're ending off on, or me going next door, my daughter being a resilient big sister, and juggling school because she was, she's going to school elementary. It wouldn't be that hard. Then it's right before COVID hit too. So mind you, my timeline might be a little bit off, but all my shit that I speak is the truth.